Dixie Doggers TV presents. We're fueled by Showtime dog food. If you want your stud dog, your kennel, or your business advertised at the beginning of this, just like you're hearing now, you can contact us at dixiedoggers01@gmail.com or call 205-388-2558. All right, everybody.
Howdy, howdy.
Got Nate and Joey here. We're back again, trying to put out the content like we were talking about as often as possible. We got, what's the day? Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday.
We got to hunt with a legend yesterday. A guy that I've known since the very first time I went hunting. He was on the first hunt I went on, which they had already been hunting at the time. Vice Pruitt, him and his wife Heather, they came and joined us yesterday. They brought some young yellow dogs out. We've been knowing each other years and years.
Yeah. And
the past few years, man, we just ain't got to. It's been a while since I've got to hunt with Vice. And yesterday was training.
Oh yeah,
more than hunting by far. But turned out to be a great day. We had a good race first thing that morning. Man, it was so hot and muggy. Oh my Lord, it's hot. And then we went to several different places. All the pups were working pretty damn good, honestly.
Yeah. We did a little bit different than we usually do. We did more road hunting yesterday.
Yes.
Well, we had to cast them the first time just because they were not cooperating in the back of the Ranger.
No.
That's what Dad was like. Well, I kind of want to drop them where they put a pig. I was like, I don't think they're worried about that. I think they want to get out now.
Yes.
And then after,
and that's what it was.
I think after the sixth time, one that shouldn't have jumped out was definitely jumping out and
just
shitting and puking in the back of the. Dad's like, yeah, let's kick these dogs. And I was like,
yeah.
We can be frustrated at them while they're way over there instead of them being right here.
And they didn't go far.
No.
Which was it him? No, Louie actually went out. Now we carried one older dog with us.
Yeah, Paul.
As far as hunting dog. And I said, well, of course our thoughts are maybe we get him on a good track, get these pups to go with him. Well, they did, but Papa, they didn't get it shut down in enough time. Is what happened. It got out ahead of them, and I think we were at 0.6 of a mile, and that's when the puppies started filtering back. Some of the young dogs did. Louie stopped and came back, but then he stayed in one area. So I'm figuring that's probably where we lost the hog, because on the Garmin, that's where all of them were tight together. Him and that Clyde dog from Nathan Brooks.
I seen him wind and try out a few different tracks, but we talked about,
he just don't know what to do.
He's not.
It's only his second time.
Yeah, he's still wanting to wind everything, and like we talked about him coming from more of the squirrel dog side of things.
Yeah,
and those bloodlines.
Kamer.
Yeah, one of them Kamers. Yeah,
it's Kamer.
He likes to try and win things, and it works well with hogs if there's only one or two hogs in the area. But being down there, it's like he was winding, and he's like, I can't tell where it's coming from because there's pigs everywhere.
Like we got that little bull terrier of ours. When you're driving down the road, he's screaming, like he's winding hard. So if it's enough for a bull terrier to constantly wind, then there's a lot of sign there, which that worked out good. But we didn't know it at the time, but I mean, when we got there, I told him, I said, man, I think somebody's already been here. And we got there at daylight, but I kept looking. I was like, all the mud holes were chocolate milk, fresh tire tracks everywhere. All the fields had been drove in, and the landowner, a friend of his, had got a new thermal, and they came down the night before and rode around and, tried it out. I think he said they did shoot one hog, but at the same time, with all the commotion and the driving in and out, it didn't I ain't gonna say it pushed the hogs off the property, but we didn't see as many. Normally we'll see pigs when we're going in and out or on the property. We didn't physically see any, and there was no new tracks it had rained at like, I think 2:30 or 3 that morning. There was a storm come through, 4 o'clock, and we didn't see any new tracks. No. So I think that might have had him pushed back. But like I said, we were still on picks. Back to the race that we were talking about. Pawpaw, I don't know how far he went. Like he was a couple miles at one point. Eminem stayed with him till he got to about a mile. Yeah. And Eminem's that little Catahoula we got from Gene Reynolds, or Nate got him from him, for a bay pen dog. And we've been taking him with us. And he's been on several hogs. He's only been, this is probably, a half a dozen times maybe? As far, no more than 8, period. Well, the last time we went, midnight coming was full blown heat. Yeah. And we carried him. So I mean, we didn't even really.
I had that poor boy all messed up.
Yeah.
He took one sniff of that. And
he didn't know what was happening. Yeah, he was just running back and forth to the truck. So, which I don't blame him. It is what it is.
Messed his head all up.
Yeah. And then, so this is probably legitimately 6 or 7 times he's hunted. And out of all those times, the very first time we didn't get on hogs, that's when he was running, kept wanting to go further, but would wait on other dogs. And then the next time we went, he wound up getting on that shoat down there, Demopolis. Well, then after that, we carried him. So I said, look, we're not going to turn him out with other dogs. Turned him out by himself. He made that whole sounder up.
He just couldn't hold him.
Yeah, well, he stayed with him for a little over 2 miles.
Yeah, he ran him for a while, that's for sure.
2.5, 3 hours, and had him stop several times. But we didn't put no help to him or nothing. We said, we're going to let him work this out. And I think that was one of the best things that we ever done.
I agree.
Because yesterday, this cat was on it. Like he was hunting, and he was by himself. We seen him throw his head up. Like I said, we were roading around through some pretty thick stuff.
Because we had, who all did we have on the ground? We had
several dogs.
Louie, Skippy, Clyde, they were all on the ground at that point.
Yep.
And all the other 3 dogs had already ran past it. And
Clyde was that little Clyde dog. He was right there in front of the buggy, and he was going back and forth. I told Joe, I said, stop right here. Yeah. That's the one that caught my attention. But I didn't know him. I seen Eminem. He was already way up ahead to the left.
He was in the actual, where the curve was.
Yeah, we were at the other curve.
Yeah. And Skippy and Louie were both trying to figure it out as well. They both
I think they were starting to backtrack a little bit, because it was pretty hot. I think it was pretty hot track.
I think it was.
Because he got him up. He wasn't but a few hundred yards.
Yeah, I think when I checked the Garmin, it was like 140 or something like that when he had first started barking. And then I think he tried him, and I think the hog broke.
Oh, you could tell the difference, in the bark.
And then he ran him for probably another 250, maybe 300 yards.
I was watching him on the Garmin.
Yeah. And I know I had walked almost 100 yards up.
Where he had that big swing around right through there. But when he barked, them other dogs turned, and they were coming across. There's a big pond. M's on this far side of it toward the road. The other dogs are at this side of it. Well, he barked, and I'm glad those dogs turned and went up the edge of that pond, because at first they were going around the back side of it. And when they did, I told Vice then, him and Joe, it might have been Joe, but me and Vice Joe standing there, I said, he's fixing to run that hog right into him. Yeah. And it would be just
when he
a
had
few
swung
seconds.
Around, because I was walking and the dogs were with me, Louie, Skippy, and Clyde. And that's what I was thinking as well, because I was like 100, 125 yards up ahead. So my Garmin only said like he was like 100 yards from me. I was like, hell, he might run this thing right on out. And then I heard him start barking.
Yeah, because it wasn't far.
And Louie and Skippy immediately went in there, and I heard him start fighting. And that's when Clyde went in there, which Clyde, I don't think he had been on very many hogs.
No. Clyde's still young.
Like, because you could tell he was wanting to go.
He's from Nathan Brooks, yeah.
Yeah, you could tell he was wanting to go, but he was just kind of like.
Now, he was caught on him after they all caught and hung him. Like, they were all caught then.
Well, Louie tried him, but Louie
he made the shit out of one down there up at the hunt club the other day, him and Louie.
Yeah.
That's the ones that was down there in that bottom.
I think when Skippy got in there, Skippy were putting teeth on him, and I think Louie just got the wrong end of it. And that was the first time Louie's ever been on an actual boar hog.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
he's only been on.
That's the second time he's seen a pig in the woods.
Yeah. I didn't know he'd seen one. When you say that?
Well, when they were killing those little ones, I'm assuming.
That's you're right. That was the one I'm talking about. What I'm thinking with him and Clyde. Yeah. But I mean, this was a hog. This wasn't.
Yeah, this is 175.
Yeah, he's probably 175,
I'd say 160, 170.
Or we could say 300. Either one is fine. Close enough.
He had good teeth.
7-inch teeth.
He had good teeth on him. And Louis found out because he got stuck right there in the front of the shoulder.
How big are those teeth? 2 inches?
I think they were maybe 2 inches.
Yeah, they might have been a touch.
And Eminem got.
It might have been 2 1/4 or something.
And Eminem got cut on one of his skin flaps right there. He's got all that real loose skin, and I guess it's just enough to get pinched between the collar. It kind of looked like a poke. It wasn't a real cut, but it would just barely poke.
I didn't even see it, but I know Louis got a pretty good one on the front of his shoulder.
Louis came out and he was like gimp legging, and I was like, well, shit, he definitely got cut.
Yeah,
but he wasn't whining or nothing. I think he was kind of confused. It seemed he was like, "What the hell was this? This is way different than the other pigs I've seen."
Yeah, he's like, "The little pigs don't bite you that hard."
And then when I took him to the ranger, and I told Ella, I was like, "Well, I don't know how deep it is or anything like that." He was bleeding some, and I was like, "Well, I just don't want him to get thrashing around, make it worse, or start chewing on us." I've seen dogs do some really ridiculous things. So I was like, stay here with him, put some pressure on it, and just calm him through. And Ella said by the time I went back, when he heard the other dogs barking, he was bailing off, trying to go again.
He'll get it all figured out. But he seems to do better with Ella. Like, that's, I don't know, that's Ella's baby, I guess. And then like him, he seems to be more along yours. And that leads into what we're actually discussing today is imprinting with pups. And the whole process of the imprint. Yeah. There's a lot of people, you think that, well, I've had this dog and he's a year old. I've had him for about 2 months and, I spend all my time with him and all this. And he's your dog then. But at the same time, and I know a lot of you have seen these videos where someone hasn't been around a dog in years. And they show up, and it takes just a second. That dog realizes who they are, and it just freaks out. He's having a ball. Yeah. That's that imprint, and that takes place in the very early stages of life. It's one of those things where I think it's like, personally myself, I feel like the first 6 months or so, but really I don't know, I guess the experts or whatever, I think they've got it cut down to 16 weeks, 4 months old. So they start, after the mother, then they'll imprint with the owner or their human for a few weeks. And then after that becomes the fear imprint, the process of that, which doesn't mean like, okay, I'm scared of everything, but it can lead to that. That's the part of life where it goes in there to, hey, it's okay to go outside, or hey, it's okay to go hunt, or whatever. And that's where our jobs come in, is to lead that to the right direction for what we want it to be. And so you had, how long have you had Eminem and Louis?
I got Eminem and Louis when they were both, I think Eminem was 8 weeks old when I got him. Might have been 7. I think Louis was 9.
Yeah.
Because I got him, because I think I had Eminem like a week, and then I got Louis like the week like that. I think I had gotten Eminem on a Saturday, and I got Louis on the next Saturdays, because you and Jared went and picked up that litter on Friday.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
so that was dead on as far as timing with that. But y'all had them in the house at your apartment.
Yes.
And so they're more along the lines of what you would do like with a pet.
Yeah.
But that just goes to show you they can be your lap dog and be a lead dog in the woods, because that's what, honestly,
I'd say one of the
both of them really are doing really well.
I'd say, and one of my main concerns is I've seen it with other people that were trying to take hunting dogs and raise them as pets and then into hunting dogs, is that they treated them purely like pets. Mm-hmm. And some people don't have good structure on their pets, It's like, okay, so they had to be house trained. I did not puppy pad train them or anything. I went straight into you pee and poop outside.
Yep.
Like, you have an accident, those first few weeks, there's really no repercussions. It's more of the habit. And then it's after that, it's a scolding. And they understand, I know I'm not supposed to pee and poop here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I just didn't want to wait until I was let outside. But that's also our job as the handler. I mean, because we're over there, we have classes throughout the day. So basically, when they were puppies, we were letting them out almost every hour, on the hour.
Yeah.
They're being let out from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., an hour. And, within a few weeks, like you get down to where with between 2 3-month-old puppies, we were having one accident a week. It usually wasn't poop. It was just them peeing or something. One of them was being a dumb dog and drank too much water and couldn't hold it.
That's right.
And other than that, just crate training them helped a lot. We didn't let them sleep in the bed with us or anything like that. Like if we were taking a nap on the couch, they're our buddies. Yeah, you can nap with us, but they don't sleep in the bed with us. They stay in a crate down in the living room.
Yeah. So they weren't your fur babies.
No, not babies. Didn't take them.
Oh, they're dickheads. I mean,
they'll prove it to you.
Yeah.
They'll prove it to you.
But they are well mannered inside as well.
Yeah. When they get bored, they'll start chewing. That's just because they're bored. That means
that's all
hunting.
Dogs.
Yeah, and so I just wanted to make sure I wasn't just giving them too much structure to where they were scared to do anything. But not
that
too
fear
much,
process.
Yeah, but not too much lax time to where they didn't have any drive built up because they need a little bit built up to get antsy about stuff. And
it's like if we know we're going to go hunting the next day, the whole process of getting ready, that's just like an athlete kind of, getting pumped up, getting psyched out, getting ready to go before a game or before a workout or anything like that.
And they hadn't really had any incidents since they were probably 6-7 months old until like 2 weeks ago. I didn't take either one of them hunting for like a week straight.
Yep.
And I was super busy. Didn't even bring them to the house to run them on the treadmill. And they tag teamed the ottoman and chewed a hole in each side.
They let you know real quick.
My mother-in-law's house, and I was like, oh, yeah. So I needed, and that's what I was showing Ella, and that's what we talked about. I was like, you see how well they mind after we bring them back home from hunting. They're like, I'm the best dog ever today. But within a week of that, they're going to start being bad again.
Yep.
But it's because we don't take them to go play fetch. We don't swim them. We don't, other than running them on the treadmill. Like Callie Catchers is one of the people that just because he works with a lot of like bite work dogs and military dogs, and it's got to be to a T. And so he uses the term control chaos. And so I was like, well, I'm sure that would apply to that as well. And so that's what I've kind of tried to do.
That's what you have to be with.
Is keep him. Anytime he knows he's in a house or somewhere, he has to be controlled. Yeah. I don't hardly ever let them off of a leash most of the time. Now Eminem knows our yard and stuff like that. I let him off of a leash, but I don't let him just go wander. Like, you need to stay near me. But then when we go hunting,
well, you don't want to get him in trouble.
He's got the collar. He's got the vest on. He can kind of.
People don't think that dogs can distinguish the difference. I mean, and there's a lot of guys, I guarantee you right now, you can pick up a tracking collar and shake it, and their dogs are fired up and ready to go.
I mean, there's a lot of pet owners that take a leash, and the dogs.
Yeah, and then there's the same dog that you could take a leash, and he's like, man, okay, we're going to go outside and walk. Yeah. But then the other one is like, hey, you want to go hunt? He's ready to go. They can distinguish that difference. And the range, like we're talking about so much in hunting, it's like having a long range dog or whatever. You think that common sense for most people would be like, okay, if I've got this puppy like Eminem and I keep him on a tight leash, keep him on a tight rope, I don't want to do nothing crazy. His second hunt or third hunt, he was at 2.3 miles at one time, and then backtracked his way all the way right back to where he's at. Yes, that has a lot to do with the dog and the breeding as well, but it also has a lot to do with the process that you've done with the dog.
I try to take every ounce.
You didn't start him hunting at 8 or 10 weeks old either. You didn't start him to go hunting at whatever time. You started him hunting after he had already matured a lot more. Yeah. You waited a little bit longer instead of just throwing all this on him at one time. You gave him time to say, okay, I'm a puppy. I'm a little bit bigger puppy. Now I'm crate training. You know, now I've got my master, my partner here.
Yeah. Now we can load up.
Now I know how to do all these things, all this, and that's putting time into a dog that you don't even know will hunt yet. Like I said, I'm totally different, but he's also your pet.
Yeah, I can't have, even if he was just going to be a strict pet,
exactly,
the requirements for his obedience would be much higher for me personally.
Exactly. That's what we were talking about earlier, but it's not a determining factor.
Yeah.
If he doesn't hunt, he still has a job in the bay pen.
Yes.
And being your pet.
But
as my dogs that I have, my hunting dogs, I don't do a whole lot of that. I put just a little bit of handle on them until
they don't need obedience
until they're hunting. Yes. Now once they turn, usually it only takes 1 or 2 times. You're like, hey, let's put some time in this dog. Yeah. And then, you know, you got him, you got one that's already going out hunting real good. His first 2 or 3 hunts. Okay, now make sure he's which we try to do the loading up thing. Yeah. But other than that, that's pretty much it for me.
I tried to leash break them
because I'm gonna have to cull them, you know, and I don't
get them to where they'll at least stay there to when you're putting a lead or like a collar or a vest on them. You know, if they're going to be a rough dog, vest break them, put a vest on them, and let them just deal with it for a few days, and then loading up. And I mean, that's really the only requirements as far as the dog that's going to live outside. I mean, they don't really need to do much else.
One big thing that I guess, and you know it as well as I do, is the barking in the box or when they're not hunting.
Yeah.
We go to a lot of different places. So I don't want dogs that bark constantly for no reason. So we're generally going to haul 2 or 3 dogs that probably aren't even going to get hunted while we're there, unless we're really, really rolling. I'm always going to take a young dog or a pup, and they might not have ever hunted, but I'm going to haul them with me. And then that way, when we get, you know, they're used to riding in the box. They know that when we get there, I put them out and I start the process of keeping them from barking.
Yeah. And I've noticed that little bit of deprivation also might make them go more.
It's the anticipation again.
Yeah, that anticipation. And it also helps with stuff like conditioning to motion sickness.
Mm-hmm.
Because like, we've done it to where we put dogs in the back of the dog box and just made like a couple mile loops around the house and stuff like that. But I mean, for a young dog, a 2-hour drive, 3, 4, 6, 8-hour drive, you know, it's really hard on them.
Yeah.
And a lot of people recommend, you need to stop every 2 hours and walk your dog, or every hour and walk your dog. And like, it can't hurt for sure, but no. I don't think it's
not necessary.
I don't think it's as necessary as it's stressed, for sure. It also depends on what kind of dogs you have, how
much room they have in the box.
Yeah, because I mean, like us, if we got those big UWS double bay box, you know, you can fit 3 dogs in there that are 40 to 50 pounds, and they can all lay down. And you know, they might be touching a little bit, but they're not going to be dog piled on each other.
Yep.
And as long as they're properly socialized, there's usually no issues.
Well,
but if you had them stacked on top of each other, if they were in a smaller crate, for sure, or they can't really get around and move.
I don't like piling them in like that at all. That's just me. I mean, I know people that they can put 20 dogs on one side of a box, and that's good. It works for you. Yeah. I don't care for it. And I think a lot of that goes back to the rough dogs that I had for so long. You couldn't do it. If you did, it was going to be an issue. I promise you that.
Now, I'd say we definitely do it with puppies a lot more, but excuse me. That's more, I think it helps more with just general not being aggressive and getting socialized with other dogs, being up and close and in their faces, and especially dogs that they may not know.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, if we're going to switch to a dog that's not as rough and don't have the potential, well, you know, I want to be able, if my box breaks, I need to be able to, in the worst case scenario, stick them in there with another dog.
They got to have manners.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that I'll give up instead of, you know, on a dog that's really, really rough or aggressive or anything like that. If he performs and does his job 110%, he's got his own place. He's got his own box. I don't care. It's what it takes. It's what I do. But at the same time, if I'm transitioning or get a different dog and I don't want it to do that, so I know I got to give something up. You might have to, you know, this dog might not be as hard as this dog or as rough as this dog. So therefore, you know, I don't feel like he should be arguing in the box or aggressive or anything like that, because you're not the same caliber as this one that I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to deal with this from a snowflake.
Yeah.
You know, but with the younger dogs, it definitely seems like it's helped a lot, because the dogs I had all the way up until the past 2 or 3 years, I don't give a damn how old they was. And I don't care if you've done it from the time they say socialize and do this whole imprinting thing we're talking about. It don't matter. Like, they were so high drive at 6 or 8 weeks old, they might get along just fine, or they might take care of that litter mate and eat the other litter mate. I'm dead shit. Like, it's just different. Not everybody has seen those type animals, and they're a whole different deal.
Are as much of a blessing as they are a curse.
Yes.
They'll be like, you have a 1-dog show. It's like, this dog is phenomenal in every aspect, but he's also Hitler in every other aspect outside of the hunt.
You can't do anything else with him.
Yeah, it's like,
so that's one reason why we swapped to a lot of these rougher style cur dogs. Yeah. And they are rougher than, you know, they're, like I said, we talked before, the idea of rough depends on who you are.
Yeah.
And what your status is as far as your levels of roughness, I should say. A lot of people talk about a rough bay dog. You know, to me, it's just a bay dog. He's barking. He ain't catching a pig. Yeah. If he puts teeth on him and turns him around and all that, to me, that's what a bay dog's supposed to do. He's just doing his job.
Yeah.
If he breaks and tries to run, they put teeth on him and set him down, then bay him again. That's what a hog dog's supposed to do.
Yeah.
But if he's a rough dog, he's going to grab him and catch him.
He's going to try him at least once.
No, he's going to grab him and catch him. If he's a rough dog, he's going to grab him, he's going to catch him. And if it's something that he can handle. You know, they're going to be that point to where it's going to be where the dog itself knows he can't handle a 250 with 3-inch teeth, or he gets several holes in him and he backs up and bays. I can deal with some of that. But at the same time, I don't want a dog that's going to grab it and try it unless he's going to hang it.
Yeah.
Because all it does is
catch him,
do one or the other. Catch that son of a bitch or bait. So that's why I want a hard, rough dog. Yeah. I want one that when he grabs him, he's there till you get there, no matter what it is. And I understand there's people who don't use that, and that's perfectly well and good, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that I'm right by no means. That's just what I like. If I'm going to have a bay dog, I want one that's going to put teeth on him when needed. I don't like a loose dog at all. I don't want one that's just going to walk bay him or none. I will not have that dog at all. Don't want him. If he's going to walk beside that hog and bay him, I have no use for that dog. But there's a million dogs out there that are great and phenomenal, and they are that style dog. Yeah. And they get it done every time, but it don't work here.
And I also feel like a lot of it depends whether that dog's baying by himself or if he's baying with another dog. Mm-hmm. And because a lot of times if they're baying by themselves, they'll swing a lot more. Mm-hmm. They might loop around him and stuff like that. Whereas with another dog, they're probably going to hit him up a lot better.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, but I know some, like when I say loose dog, Houdini was a loose dog.
Oh, yeah.
I'll never own another one. Not like that at all. He was a phenomenal dog.
Well, he's going to stand 10 foot away from
You could put him on any track, I mean, and turn him loose, and you might come back 2 days later, and he's there.
Oh, yeah.
And he's solid. But I just don't, I got to catch hogs quick. And I don't, if we had huge properties, it'd be different. But the properties that we have, like I said, we've went over this a million times. But the whole thing, like what we were discussing with the imprinting deal, having that puppy that's your pet, to be able to go out and do the same thing that you enjoy doing, I mean, to me, that's about as good as you can ask for, you know?
Yeah.
Not a lot of people get that.
And I feel like a lot of it is just the handler trying to harness the dog's capability. Like I said, keeping him strung up enough to where he's still interested and still has that prey drive, but not getting him too hopped up, but also not taking anything out of him. And so like I never just like turned him loose and let him go run and play by himself or anything like that. Like I said, if he was playing, it was going to be in a smaller area. Like
it was the controlled chaos method. Like California catchers, I follow him, which we both do. A lot of people follow him.
Yeah,
the guy's a wealth of knowledge. I'm talking about. I'd love to sit down and talk with him some, or on the phone or whatever, and just talk dogs, and some of the things that the methods that he's used, what works versus what doesn't work for him. Because like I said, it might work for you, but it don't work for me on certain things. What works for me might not work for you.
And one thing that I think helped is anytime I saw them trying to display some hunt in any form or fashion, like hunting bugs, that was one thing that they did a lot as puppies. I never scolded them for that or anything. I wouldn't let them eat them, but the only issue is now if they see a bug, that son of a gun is getting got. Even right now, they'll be on the back porch or something.
That's what I do with the Jags forever.
They seen a June bug, they're going to nail it. But, I mean, I didn't, like in an apartment, it's really hard to show them any game while I'm gone during the week because until I come home and can take them out and about or something like that, it's like, well, they're doing something. And I don't want to take them.
No, you should never take it away from me. Ed said that in his book about dogs being outside running loose, just letting them hunt. And that holds true. If you'll think, there's a lot of people that they have dogs, they just turn them loose and let them run, and they become, they might stay gone a week, 10 days. But then what you do is you harness that, and you get it and you apply it to the scenario that you want it to be. With the terriers, for years, that's predominantly what we hunted. I would never discourage them from anything. Even digging armadillo hole, possum, it didn't matter. Let them get it. And it made those dogs better, without a doubt. I couldn't tell you how many times, they'd be on off game. You're like, what in the hell are they doing? But then once we got them in hog sign all the time, or we carried them just strictly on hog hunts, it didn't take very long at all before they knew that they're hog dogs.
Yes.
And the first thing that they would hunt would be a hog every single time until there was no sign. If we went somewhere and there was really no sign, that's where we got into the free casting with the terriers. Man, and we had a ball.
Oh yeah, it's a great time.
We didn't know what we was going to catch, but we knew we were not going to catch a pig because they didn't bust out of here and take off and hunt. If they did, they'd go out, make however many loops, and then come back. There just wasn't nothing there.
Yeah, they'd be sticking their head in a hole or something like that. And I had seen, a clip. I want to say it was from the Hunting Dog Public podcast, or it might have been from Tree Talking Media. But they had a guy on there, and he was talking about starting squirrel dogs. And he was talking about between a 10 and 16-week-old puppy or something like that. He was talking about having one back. I don't remember his name. I can't remember it for the life of me right now. And he was like, just watch them work and just let them work. And kind of similar to bugs. He's like, I'd throw pieces of dog food in the grass. He sort of little pieces of weenie, cut up. He said, or a chunk of a squirrel hide. He said, if I had one frozen, cut it up in little 1-inch strips. And he was talking about imprinting that scent and that hunt into them. Mm-hmm. And I think that definitely would help. But I don't also think a lot of that is already in that dog's DNA.
Yeah.
Dogs aren't like people. They don't have enough opinions to screw themselves up mentally, or they can't take in enough opinions of people to mentally mess them up. And they want to hunt, they're going to hunt.
Yep. Unless you take it away from them.
Yes, unless you take it away from them. But as long as you're not doing that, I didn't show Louis any game until he was probably 8 months old.
Yeah.
And that was more of just indecisiveness of what I wanted to do with him. Because I was like, well, I don't want to have him as just a straight hog dog. I know that. But I also didn't know if I wanted to make him just a squirrel dog, or if I want to try and make him like a squirrel, coon, and hog, and kind of just take a 22 mag out and whatever.
You can go to some places where they don't have all that game, and you can pick one one or the other and go hunt.
Yeah, it's like if I wanted to go up north where one of my buddies live, go squirrel hunting or coon hunting in Tennessee with Logan or out in Missouri with Oliver, I could go do that. But, just make sure there wasn't any hog sign around. If there is, well, we're going to get on one probably.
And I'm sure there's the more training that you put into it, the more time that you could have him distinguish that on what's relevant, what's not.
I've always thought about the bloodhounds and how they like give them a scent of like somebody's clothing. And then they're like, okay, go find this. And I had started doing that at one time with Twitch.
Yeah.
When like we're doing the blood trailing and we were hog hunting him and we were like coon hunting him and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd gotten to where he would do it a little bit, but he ended up dying before he ever got honed down. But like,
he wasn't young though.
No.
I didn't start doing that
6 years old, 5 years old.
I didn't start doing that with him until he was probably 4. Mm-hmm. And it was more of just working the dog. Yeah. And I was like 14 doing this. And so, just working the dog, just kind of just like, hey, because he would run a blood track and he would go tree a coon, he'd run a hog and do all these things. It's like, well, see if I could do that. And so I haven't done that with the dog since. I haven't had a dog and try to do it. So I might try and do it with Louie. But then again, I might wait and try and do it with a different dog like that. I don't know. Yeah. I might just let Louie hunt and whatever he decides to hunt and just back him up on it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's sometimes you get.
The dog knows much better than me.
The dog will tell you what they want to do.
I can't smell all those things. He can, though.
I tried to tell him. I don't know how many people was like, let the dog tell you what it wants to do. Because, like, there's some dogs that are phenomenal blood trackers. We were talking about this yesterday with Vice and Heather. And then the next dog, the same dog, or a litter mate to that dog, might be the best hog dog. And then the next one might turn out to be a coon dog or whatever.
It's like siblings in a family.
Yep.
Like you have brothers.
Not everything's the same.
Daylight and dark.
Yep. And that's people try to push what they want too much and what they expect.
Yeah.
And all that. You just kind of need to just go with the flow in a way, because if that dog doesn't fit you and what you want it to do, then you don't need the dog, period. You need a different one.
And a lot of times people get dogs too late. And it's like you get a year-old dog and you expect to just teach them how to do a whole bunch of stuff.
The imprinting process. That's what we're talking about.
It don't work.
That's right.
And it's like
they don't listen to you as well.
And it's like and that's one thing like we talked about with Eminem. It's like, well, I don't want him just as a cast dog. I want to be able to walk hunt him. I want to be able to road hunt him. So it's like I'm going to have to take those days and get him where he's casting real good and then say, well, I know he's casting real good, but I'm going to see him act like shit today. And we're going to road hunt him. And take Saturday. That was the first time we had ever actually road hunted him. And the beginning, he did real bad.
Yeah.
And then towards the middle, he started doing real good. And then after that boar hog, he was hot and tired. And he was doing good, but he was just tired. And I can't get mad at the dog. He's young. He's tired.
Well,
he'd already found a pig.
They'd already done run that first one.
Yeah.
This done been several hours into it. So.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're talking, it was already 106.
He's 11 months old now.
So is he 11? I thought he was 10.
Yeah,
11 months old.
He turns a year old in August.
So, and the thing about it is, like, we literally just got him started. He was almost 10 months old then.
Yeah. Whereas Louie road hunted like a champ.
Yeah, it looked like
Louie did some of the best road hunting I had seen out of a young dog, but he don't cast real good.
No.
Now, road hunting and walk hunting, Louie's good, but him being more of a squirrel and coon dog, I'm not really worried about getting Louie to cast. And I was really worried about, because Louie, I noticed he gets real weird about things. Like when we were talking about training them in the house and stuff and having an accident. If you scolded him and them, he'd suck up to you and be a baby. Louie'd be like, oh God, oh no, I'm in trouble. The world is ending.
Yeah.
It's something like that. And so I just never wanted to get Louie out and get him injured. Whereas he took that cut yesterday and it didn't bother him. And so I think holding him back and starting him a little later fit his mind a little bit better than Eminem's. Because I showed Eminem a pig at 3.5 months old and he didn't bay it like a champ. He didn't go in there and lay down a perfect, but he barked at it. He engaged a little bit, come back and play.
Knew he was interested. Yeah. Then you pulled him away from it a little while.
Gave him another month, and he bayed that one a little better. And then waited another month, and then he bayed a perfect. And waited another month, and then he's getting a little rough. Yeah. And now if it's under 100 pounds, he's probably going to nail that son of a gun.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. I don't want to have to sit there and bay a small pig or a shoat in the woods, and the little son of a guns be running around like rats.
Yeah.
If you're gonna catch him, catch him, and if he's real small, just go ahead and kill him.
Move on.
Yeah.
And but like I said, it goes back to the whole
But have enough sense
debate
to not hurt
on
yourself.
bay dog or this or that. A real, true 100% bay dog will bay anything, no matter how big it is. So that's the point of where you got to find what fits. Yeah, what fits you. That's why I said, to me, for my bay dog, what I want, if it's under 75, 100 pounds, just listen to the squeal and keep on going.
Yeah,
because he's gonna get over with pretty quick, and then we'll go to the next one. But at the same time, if you get a bay dog that will bay a 5-pound piglet, that's a bay dog.
Oh,
that's a damn bay dog.
Tried and true. And one thing I've noticed with Louis is he don't have like the baby issue. He's not interested in getting babied. He don't.
He's more independent.
Louis will let you know when he wants to get petted. Louis likes getting petted on like his face, which is really odd. I don't know why. He wants you to like rub his face. Whereas Eminem is like, pet me now. You've heard him whine and cry. You get him out of the dog box, he try to give you a hug.
Yeah.
Louis like, turn me loose. Once Eminem realizes we're hunting, he's like, oh, we're going hunting. And it's just, it's very, very weird.
Yeah.
The differences in those two dogs' minds and just trying to line up what they can do with getting with what I want to do and trying to meet them in the middle on it.
I know, like, I had Lily for almost 16 years, and she was my dog like that.
Yeah.
So I've had a couple of them like that, dual purpose, triple purpose dogs, all purpose dogs. But she was like that. It seemed like she would throw a fit. Like the hunting dogs we have now, that's one thing I will say. I don't have to worry about them getting mad and chewing the whole dash out of a brand new Duramax.
I've seen Eminem trying,
or tear the door panels off, or tear the bumper off front of a police car because she's just pissed off and acting like a brat,
or try and chew through the bottom of the Ranger trying to get in on the trailer, sneak under the dog box, or
whatever. Tear the doors off, or tear a hole to get in because she wants to go hunt. But it's more along the lines that she wanted to go with us.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, the hunting to me was just an after effect of it. Because I didn't do that to get her to start as a hunting dog. She was catching, and we're talking about a pit bull, American Pit Bull Terrier, 42 pounds, and that's when she was fat, really. Yeah. Most of the time she was about 38, 39 pounds, and she was real lean. But this dog would cast. I mean, like, cast. If we couldn't find a hog with
turn the bulldog
with
loose.
Whatever, everybody'd say, hey, turn your catch dog loose. And you don't find a lot of dogs like that. That was a different
That's up to the dog on that point.
Yeah, she showed me what she wanted to do and I let her do it. But at the same time, like I said, she imprinted. She was my dog. I was hers, should I say. And I'm telling you, if she wanted to go and I didn't take her, she's going to show out.
I seen Eminem try and throw his first titty baby fit the other day.
Yeah.
He was just wanting to do something. And I know he was just wanting to do something. And so he kept just like sulking. He'd go up to me and like, oh. And he'd like go walk over there like to the truck or something. Like, but he would never load up when I tell him to. And it's like, Eminem always loads up. But he was just like, I'm not.
Yeah, that's their first defense, I think, is to not do what you say you're going to do.
Like a teenager, which they're also in the teenager stage too. Mm-hmm. And so I went and ran him on the treadmill, and after that, we were much better about it. Well, he, like talking about the bugs, those metal studs that hold the planks on the treadmill, he was watching them. He kept thinking they were bugs. And so he'd be running, look, and just nail one and try and grab it. Yeah, it was so funny.
Hey, better not tear my treadmill.
I was like, don't be chewing it up. I was like, they're not bugs. Don't kill them. Because the June bugs have been coming out. When we sit on the back porch, he tears them things up. And he keeps thinking those metal studs were bugs. Now, Louis is not a treadmill fan. I need to try him again. But just the last few times, I could tell the dog wasn't having a good time. So, hell, I'm not going to stress it.
No, to me, it's no sense in it. Because, I mean, you can road him. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, out of all the dogs that was there yesterday,
Louis stayed in front.
Louis was breathing the least amount, breathing heavy, like he's just no
That's
problem.
One thing I've liked about the Kimmer and the mountain curs. They got the leg, they condition easy.
Yeah.
They're not much running.
It's like they're just built for it.
Yeah. And they won't go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like
I have to get him.
We run them in the heels all the time. You go to flat ground.
It's like I don't ever have to tell Louis to go hunt. But whereas like you've seen me while we're hunting, I'm like, come on in, hunt him up, and get him and like point him in the direction.
He wants you to
half
show
the time
him how
the
to
dog
go.
listens to my
Show
hand
him to
signals.
cast,
I don't know if he knows what I'm saying or if it's a coincidence.
Well, it's like, Rodney does that with Midnight Sally. He gets them and they'll walk beside him or behind him for 10 miles.
Yeah.
But if he stops and lets him go past, tells him, takes his hand, go, then they're gone.
Yeah. Whereas Louis is like, watch this.
Mm-hmm.
But Louis also hunts with me, whereas, like I said, Eminem's hunting for me.
Yeah.
Now, once Eminem sees some game or something or gets on a track, his mind gets into the prey drive aspect of it. But the actual just hunting portion of it is more for me, I think.
I didn't hear him bark on track yesterday at all.
No.
None of them, really. So that's one thing I was happy with on that. So,
yeah.
But I mean, it turned out to be pretty good. Like I said, it coincides with what we're, like I said, like what we're talking about with the imprinting thing. If you have puppies and you've got a whole litter of pups and you're going to keep all of them, well then, spend as much time as you can the first 3 or 4 months. It's just like a baby, but puppies are going to learn more in their first 4 to 6 months. And just like a baby will learn more in the first 3 or 4 years. So keep that in mind. But if you've got pups and you're only going to keep one out of it, go ahead and pick which one you want to keep. Start spending that little bit of time with it. Let the dog know that it's yours and that you're his or hers, whatever. And make sure that during that time that they imprint on the fear stage, which would be after 8 weeks, that they know that it's okay to do things. That way they won't be scared.
And that's one thing that I've seen with that Liz dog, Big Liz, which is a little 1 pound ball of terror.
Yeah.
She's off that Mountain Cur Catahoula breeding, and she's the lone survivor of that litter. And so now she's gotten her shots. She's gotten a couple rounds, she's getting out. She's wanting to do things. And it's like, she'll let me pet her. Most other people, like, it's very weird because a lot of people, like for example, Parker, he's never been around a lot of young hunting dogs. And it's like, yeah, he takes it at face value. What I say, he trusts me because we're friends. I ain't gonna lie to him. Like, hunting dogs are different than house dogs.
That's why the old timers used to say, y'all don't pet them dogs. Leave them dogs alone.
It's like if a stranger comes up to Eminem don't want you to pet him.
No, I'm talking about for the imprint part. Is what I'm saying. Like, they'd be like, don't mess with them puppies. Yeah. Leave them alone. Let them be dogs.
Yeah.
And then because that way they're not with you. They're not like, oh, I got to stay right beside you. That way they get the hell out of here and go hunt.
Yeah. And so what I've been letting Liz do is, so I have an Amish building that is my fur trapping shed, and it's all junked up and cluttered up right now thanks to my 2 lovely little brothers. But I'm using that to my advantage because it's an obstacle course for this puppy. And so I know there's nothing in there that she can eat or that's going to poke or prod her or get sick. So I just let her hunt in there. And watching her hunt and just sprinkling a couple little pieces of dog food around the shed, and the little dog her little nub is just going 90 miles an hour, and she don't even know what she's doing.
Yep.
But I was like,
she's trying hard. I was watching the other day what she
when
was
she
into.
gets done though, then she'll come over there and she's gonna tear up my pants leg or bite me, and then want some petting.
Yep.
And after a few minutes of that, she's like, okay, let me go again.
Yep.
And so I've been trying to spend an hour or so, 2 hours every day, just hanging out with Liz, and just get that imprint on. And especially since she lost her litter mate, she don't have any other puppies to play with, and it's kind of like kids. I've seen a lot of single household children grow up and they didn't socialize. They were odd.
Yeah.
In a good way.
They don't know how. They don't know how.
Yeah. And so it's like, I'm trying to get her socialized with people and make sure she's getting enough playtime. So when I do start introducing her with other puppies, after I'm not worried about her getting sick or anything like that.
That way she knows. Yeah.
That way she don't just freak out and try to attack one or something like that.
That's probably that's the youngest puppy we got now.
Yeah.
Which Mimi and Joe, and then we just had some little patterdales. I think there was only 3 of those though.
Yeah, I think that Jody said the one was underdeveloped.
There's two males and 1 female, and then which none are for sale or anything. So there'll only be one that goes anywhere, and that's the Miss Joy Shaw. But it'll be the same thing. And that's why I tried to explain that to Mimi and my nieces was don't let those dogs imprint on you so heavily when they're that young. And that first litter they had, those dogs were very, very weary of anybody else.
Yeah.
They didn't want to really go to anybody else.
And that's one thing I like about Parker and them coming over because, it's an outside
Well, that's
person
what I'm saying. We have
time.
other people all the time. Well, they don't.
Yeah.
So that's a huge difference. That's where that other fear imprint comes from.
I still want her to know I'm boss, I'm primary, or you are, or whoever.
Yeah, just whatever. But it's
somebody there that stays there most of the time. But also,
it's okay.
One thing that I regret is I should have made Eminem go out in public more. I should have took him to a dog park or something.
Well, you see how he acts with that part.
Yeah.
At that 8 to 12 to 16-week-old deal I was talking about.
Yeah.
Is like instead of being shy, he might growl or nip at somebody.
Yeah.
Now, he's not going AWOL, ape shit and going crazy, but until he knows you, he doesn't really trust you because he was only around. He was in the house with you.
Yeah.
And that was it.
And like when I had gotten Eminem, which I had told you about this before, when he was 8 weeks old, I'd had him 2 days and I'd put his food down and he growled at me and tried to bite me as a little puppy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I pulled the old Caesar Milan on him and got him in a little 2-prong finger chokehold basically and just pinned him down. And like,
you got to establish the dominance.
And make his mind give up, make him submit. I'm the big dog here because if like they treat us as pack members, they know we're different, but they still treat us as pack members. And if nobody's there to take the lead, they're going to try and take
They'll run you over.
Whereas Eminem in most packs would not be the top dog, but I don't think he'd be the bottom one either. But a lot of dogs that are more inferior or insecure will try and take over if you're not stern and correct.
Yep.
It's like Louis don't care. Louis loves most people. I don't think there's a person that Louis has shied away from yet.
No, not that I've seen.
Louis sees people, he's like, I'm getting petted.
Yep.
Love this. New people to give me a bunch of petting. Whereas Eminem's like, don't touch me. Which is really odd because then once Eminem knows you can't beat the dog off of you.
Yep. And that's what I said. That comes down to the dog itself. It's not all dogs because there's some dogs it doesn't matter what you do or anything. Everybody's different. They got their own personality.
Yeah.
But like I said, as an overall deal, and I've researched on it quite a bit, and I've read a lot of articles and a lot of literature on it from people who do this for a living. This what I'm saying that we're talking about is not just, I draw all these conclusions myself, but most of them I have went through in some form or fashion, and they hold true. So, but
it's like I said,
just think that it's like up till probably 5 or 6 months old that they really depend on how much time you spend with them.
I agree. I mean, because I see a lot of people buy a hunting dog, a young dog that started, or a dog that's going good at 2 or 3 years old, and they just want to immediately take him hunting, and it's like it's not going to be a tried and true imprint, but you need to imprint on that dog in some form or fashion.
Well, yeah, you got to let him know where you are.
Man. Yeah, because that dog just went through a big change. He just left his house or his home.
You've seen people take dogs out, and then they're like, the dog didn't come back.
Yeah, the dog was like, I'm trying to go home.
Yep.
And then some dogs are like, hey, new guy to take me home. It just, a lot of it's
the
up
personality.
To the dog.
Yeah.
A lot of it's up to that dog and how they're feeling.
Exactly. So, but I mean, I think if more people would just, you can and you can also separate it. Like I said, I do it a lot. Like I don't worry about that part so much but just strictly for hunting dogs, it's like I don't. And when I say hunting dog, I mean like hog dogs, like I do, or it'd probably be more along the lines of like deer dogs, or foxhounds, or something like that. That are going to be in a pack. They're going to go out and hunt. They don't have to be around you. Like squirrel dogs. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Usually they're right there with you, or you're close. Yeah. Coon dogs the same way. You have a lot of personal interaction, whereas with a pack of dogs, you still have interaction, but it's more along the lines of, hey, let's open the box, get out there and hunt. Pet them up. Good job, guys. Go find another one or get back in the box. Just go home. Yeah. That's the amount of interaction that we're holding. So like I said, there's dogs I'd rather have that just want to hunt, period. and they ain't worried about me except when I call them. You know, and there's a lot of them that even when you call them, they ain't worried about it. You have to tone them to get them to come back, or you got to go find them. That's hunt. That's what I like, you know, in a sense. So it's one of those, you got the good and the bad. You might have to give up something to get something or whatever. So, but all in all, it'll work for no matter what dogs you do.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I had let Eminem and Louie play with coon hides when they were 3 months old and stuff like that. Give them toys, you know, something to take some of that prey drive out of. But after I had showed them to some actual fur or something like that, I don't give them any more toys. Like Parker and I were sitting in the shed one day, and I said, I feel like most people's dogs would go hunting. They just never switched that over. That prey drive was taken out on a tennis ball, or it was taken out on a toy, and they just never showed them any actual game. And so by the time they're a year or 2 years old, they're scared of it. It's too big of an obstacle for them to mentally overcome at once.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of dogs. But some dogs I've seen, it also depends what kind of dog, because more of like the American Pit Bull Terrier, I've seen some of those dogs that are never seen a hog until they're 2 years old, and they're like, what is that? And they see another dog nip at them or something, and they're like, oh, we're doing this.
Yep. Without
and
a doubt.
after that first one, it's game over. And do you think the imprinting process is different or has different requirements for like the more Mollister type dogs versus the more Bay type dogs?
Without a doubt. 100%.
What are those differences?
You have to establish that point right there, that I'm the boss and you're my dog.
Just because they're a little strong, they're stronger minded?
Yes, 100%. They have,
I was thinking the same.
They got a lot of drive, like they're, you know, very game dogs. A lot of people say, oh, they're this dangerous animal and all this stuff. Any of them can be. Any animal. Damn Yorkie, a Chihuahua, will bite your ass quicker than any pit bull that I know of. But at the same time, being a responsible pit bull owner or mastiff or cane corso or Tracer Canary, whatever, any of the big protection type dogs, as early as possible, when you get that dog, you need to lay down the law and you need to build that bond. Because if you don't, like you said, every dog has its own personality. You might have got one that was perfect for you, didn't need anything. All you had to do was feed him and go with him. And then the next one would have needed, you know, 2 or 3 hours of attention every single day and months and months and months of training. And then constantly exercising it and utilizing it to keep that dog busy. So that way it doesn't sit there and chew a hole in the ottoman or tear the dash out of a truck. That's what happens. If you don't, then you have other lines of dogs from the same breeds that are not as strong, and they don't care. But that's also why they make better pets. You know, it's always like, well, this set over here, these will make a better pet. You know, instead of.
And one thing I think helps is like playing with your puppy a lot of times, like actually like letting them bite on you, letting them chew on you, and not necessarily you whooping them, but like you said,
let them know when it's too much. Because they'll get carried away. But you got to be careful with that on the biting stuff. Don't let them. Like if you got a chew toy
like 12,
or something.
15 weeks
no, I'm saying if you got a chew toy, I'm just throwing this out there for a lot of people who let their little dogs grab a hold of stuff, then pick them up, swing them around. Don't do that. Don't do that until they've lost all the puppy teeth. Then when they get a little bigger, then you can do that. Because, I mean, it'll pull those puppy teeth out. You can injure the sockets. I mean, you can injure them a lot worse than that. But if they're biting on stuff with fabric or that their teeth can get on you. I know what you're talking about. It's a totally different thing because, hell, I've done it. You've done it.
Mine's still more like imprinting. And like another thing picked up from Caesar Milan. I've seen a lot of his videos on my Facebook over the past year. And, you know, Caesar's a bad dude. Any man that'll stick his hand down there and let a 40, 50-pound dog just eat him up and then just pet him and make him okay with it, you're tough. You're pretty tough.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Anyone.
He must make a lot of money, is all I can say.
Without doubt.
I saw him do it with this weenie dog. And instead of using like the 2-finger prong thing, he'd use like the hand on the back of the neck. And he was like, well, in a pack scenario, a bigger dog is going to grab them on the neck and make them submit. And I was like, well, if I start implementing that with some puppies, and so I have been doing that with any puppy we had basically last year. Anytime we're roughhousing, I make sure they're at the very end. I grab by the nape of the neck, get a little rough with them, and just hold them down a little bit. Just enough to where they know they're playing. It's kind of like having a younger brother. I'm not beating you up, but I'm letting you know I could.
Yeah, and that, like I said, that people take that. I don't know. They do the whole thing where they bite, where they let a puppy bite them, and they take it to the extreme. They think it's funny. Like, man, watch this little dog right here. It is in a way, I guess, but at the same time, all you're doing is setting him up for failure. Yeah. There's a time to play, like you said.
Get him a training hide, get him a toy, something. Don't make it about you chewing and getting chewed up. You know, like a little puppy like lives 7-8 weeks old. Oh yeah. I mean, those little puppy teeth.
I used to, man. I used to have scabs all over my damn arms.
She got me on the nose the other day, and I was like, oh man, that one hurt.
Yep. I got bit one time, and Lily done it. She grabbed me right on the end of the nose. I was sitting there playing with her, and I was grabbing her, shaking her like that, and just sitting in the chair. And she reached up and grabbed me, and I mean, before I'd even thought about it, I was fixing to wear her out. Then I stopped. Why am I doing this? Because I showed you it was okay.
I riled the dog up.
Trial and error is where I learned all that. It's like, okay, look. So from now on, you're only allowed to do this much.
Yeah. I don't ever rile the dogs up to make them play. If they want to play, we'll play it. If you don't want to play, we're not going to play.
Well, yeah. Of course, I had you, Luke, Kimbo, Jody, Riley, and a whole host of other little heathens over there all the time.
Lily wanted to play way more than we ever wanted.
She'd come running around the corner, little tail cocked up, strutting.
I can tell you,
grab you. It didn't matter. She'd grab you, whoop your ass. You had to be rough with her. You had to. You had to let her know. She was a strong dog, very strong. That's what I'm saying. She was a strong-minded dog. So from 10 weeks old on, you had to have a hand on her.
Oh yeah,
ain't no doubt.
I had a lot of shirts that got stretched out. She'd come up to you. She'd be wanting to play with like and she'd grab you on the back of the sleeve right here or on the bottom.
Take off.
Just be doing the death roll.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, Lily, we'll play. But she never tried to bite you on the skin. She'd end up pinching you or something, but she was never like.
That's how most people get bit.
Oh yeah.
They had the dog bit them, and it's a pinch, it's an accident, and I don't know the actual amount, but I'd probably say 75% is because of humans, because you've done something to instigate it. Like you see videos, and I've seen people do it. They'll stand at the end of a chain, just fucking with a dog. Yeah. Stop. The dog's
stare him right in his eyes.
Yeah, get right in his face, blowing his face.
Or if a dog starts barking at him, they start hollering at him. It's like, if you're that dog's handler, holler at him, correct it. But if you're not that dog's handler, kind of literally just make yourself kind of submit just a little bit.
Well, you know me, I don't holler at them. No. If they get to rolling and fighting or carrying on, something happens. Most of the time I'll get close to them, I'll clap my hands. Yeah. The next thing it is, I'm gonna get a hold of them and get it under control.
Yes.
Because, now you can holler or say, if you trained your dogs to a word.
Yeah.
Like, I did that forever. And all I had to do was say one thing, and that's it. They either quit. If they didn't quit, then you got to get hands on with them because they're in mode. They're in straight high drive prey mode, and they're going to take care of business. But like I said, that's two totally different wheelhouses there. Having the pit bulls versus just a regular hunting dog. Which there's a lot of the American Pit Bull Terriers that are versatile and are being used, especially in what we do. They're used a lot. And I don't know anybody that's scared to turn one loose because they're going to bite somebody. Usually that's the friendliest dog there. That's the one everybody loves. But he also gets the most interaction if it's a catch dog most of the time because he's there.
He's there at the box.
He's there at the buggy or in the box more than everybody else.
So compared to a bay dog, when would you show a catch dog a pig?
Honestly, it would probably depend. I ain't gonna say probably. It will depend on the line the dog's off of and what type of what the catch dog is, what breed. If it's a American Pit Bull Terrier, what I normally do, and you know this as well as I do, when they're a little puppy, I'll have them under my arm, walking around. If we got something they can look at a training place or wherever we're at, I'll let them see it. If they're interested in it, that's as far as it needs to go. Then when they're several months old, 5, 6 months old, I'll see what they want to do. Are they interested in it? And then when they get a chance to go and they engage, I stop it right then. Then I put it up till it's time to go to the woods. And that's usually after their teeth come in. That's like with Gene and Bronco. So they weren't even full-blooded. They're not full-blooded pit. They're crosses. But at the same time, I still waited till they were 10 months old. The first time we carried them out anywhere, they were probably a year old when we really first started hunting them. And that's probably a little earlier than I'd like. Yeah. 14, 16 months old. That's me personally. Not a lot of people go by that.
But I'd say a well-bred catch dog is much more likely to turn on than a well-bred bray dog.
Just because they turn on there and they want to go doesn't mean they're ready.
Yeah.
That does not mean that they're ready. And just because a dog will bite something or pig, that's not a catch dog.
No.
It's catching, but it's not a catch dog.
Yes.
When you have one that's 8 or 10 years old, and he's been doing it since he was a year old, that's catch dog.
Oh yeah. I mean, because that dog has
they got to learn ways.
They have to work that hog, because it's a lot of leverage. It's kind of like wrestling in a sense, because they're using their mouth to hold that pig.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like a dog that uses his body.
Yeah. One that leans into it.
I want him to tuck around beside him, put all 4 feet down, squat his ass, dig in, and hang on.
Is there any way you can teach a dog to do that, or is that usually?
Well, you seen me do it with that puppy that Katie's got right now. I just said no, don't do that. Of course, it was really too young. That was one of the. I wasn't going to use it. Yeah. When I seen that she was doing that, I said we cannot do this because we want her to be here for the longevity. So I decided no, we're not going to use her for a catch dog, but we're going to keep her to have that bloodline and to have those genetics to be used. So it's kind of like having a brood bitch that, but you already know that she'll do it.
Yeah.
So depending on where you live at, whether you can have hogs to train with or whatever, if you have some form or fashion, I try to do it from the time that they're big enough to start going in. Mm-hmm. You can take and pick the dog up while it's caught, rotate it against it, or you can take a little switch, a little tapping stick, kind of like they do hogs at a show when they're going in to, do these show pigs. Mm-hmm. You can walk around in front of it, tap it on each side, do the same thing with the dog. Take a tap stick and get him to walk around to where you want him. Then when it's there, don't be scared to get in there and pet it up while it's hanging on.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm not talking about a 275-pound boar hog out in the woods that's slinging everything around, wrecking it. I'm talking about controlled chaos. That's when you do that. That's your teaching moments. Don't stand there like a dumbass and be videoing and taking pictures. Look at what my dog can do. Only do that when your dog's doing it to what it needs to do. Like I said, just because they'll run in there and hit like a freight train don't mean nothing.
No.
I mean, to me, it doesn't. I'm sorry. I ain't being a jerk, but if that dog's running 50 miles an hour and hits one right in the face, chances are that dog's not going to be very old. He's not going to live very long, or he doesn't get to do it all the time.
Yeah.
And when I say, I'm not talking about your typical guy who gets to hog hunt with dogs once every few weeks. I'm talking about catch dogs that are hunted several days a week. They have to know how to utilize every aspect of it that they can.
Yes.
I had that dog Judd. First thing Judd would do would turn. If he caught a hog, he would always try to find a small tree and get between him and the damn hog. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. I was like, but check him out. And he did it every single time. It wasn't like a fluke where he done it one time. He did it every single time. And it worked. He would have the hog here. tree in the middle, he'd be on this side and just pull tight. Not a big tree, but just something big as your arms, so. But you can manipulate him to get him to go to where you want to.
Yeah.
So, but that's the main thing is being there, putting in the time, and making it work.
And listening to your dog. If your dog's feeling overwhelmed, or if it's getting scared, if it's getting stressed, back off on it.
Yep.
You don't want to.
It's like yesterday,
push
we
them, but don't want to
dogs
break
were
them.
wore out. They would have win again, but it's like, why?
What positive is going to come from this?
Yeah, why? Well, if we do find another hog, that's great.
Yeah.
But where we were at, like the hogs ain't going any damn where apparently because we killed the shit out of them. And so it's like, don't put your dogs at risk because your ego.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't have to have another picture to put on Facebook.
No.
We don't have
That's
to.
the first time I've posted a photo of a hog, and I don't know
in general,
how.
I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about in general, period. But we don't have to. Like, I did it for years and years without. And just up until the last year or so, I didn't put nothing but shoats on there. Hardly ever put any big boar hogs. And that's all we caught. We went for, I don't know how many years, all we caught was big hogs. And that's because we did not have a huge population either. Yeah. We find a track and we'd be like, yep, that's his ass right here.
Last summer we did a lot of shoat shanking. We killed a lot of good hogs.
But we had a big population.
Yes.
That's where our population started getting out of control. And it wasn't because we were lacking on it. It's because everybody around us, they're pushing the hogs over on us.
Baiting for deer helped boost that population
without a
up
doubt.
a lot.
So. But I think all in all, being able to have the dogs like you got right now, the pups that you have, to me, that's a pretty impressive thing. It's a big deal in my eyes to see a young guy that's doing that and pushing forward like that. And I ain't saying just because you're son, I'm just saying it's a good thing as a dog man. Because there's a lot of guys out here that can't do it.
I'm trying. I always want to learn how to read dogs and do them justice.
Mm-hmm.
That's my goal.
Well, that's a good goal to have. So I think that's a good note to leave it on too.
Yes, sir.
Read your dogs, do them justice. That's a good thing. That's a good message. But so I hope y'all got something out of this one today. We appreciate all y'all listening. Thanks for your support.
If you got different methods of how you imprint or some more tips and tricks,
without a doubt,
please share.
Let us know. Make sure you subscribe, comment, interact with us all you can on all the social media platforms. Thanks to all of the people who support us, our sponsors, the people that work with us hand in hand on stuff. We got, tons. Like we got Boars N Broads. We got Mr. Marc out there at Hickory Crossings. We got Jake Lucano at the hogbay.com, Animal Housing Solutions, Showtime, Tuskers Magazine,
Southern Cross.
Southern Cross. And we got a bunch of just individuals. Man, they've stuck it out with us through thick and thin. We appreciate all you guys.
Criswell.
Yes, without a doubt. He's always been there. We got a bunch of local guys that they really support us. Jonathan Thompson, Mr. Charlie, Frog, he's always here. Terry Walton,
Jacob Skill,
Heath Calicott, Jacob Kilgore,
JJ,
JJ, Keoki, Van, Figueroa, Chemo. God Almighty, it sucks because I know so many of them.
Tom. I can't think of his last
Tom,
name.
he's always
Tom Murphy. I always forget his last name. There's such a cool guy. That guy tried to give me a tracking system when I was in middle school.
Yep.
Because I was talking about wanting to run some dogs. Dad's like, well, I got one. He's like, well, if you come to my house, I'll give you my old one.
That's right.
And I was like, well, Dad lets me use his whenever I need it. He's like, so I was like, but I greatly appreciate it.
We got Donnie Yates. He's been with us since we started. Jeffrey Mullins, he does a lot with kids and coon hunting. And man, we've got some big time coon dogs from around here. I'm talking about some boys that's winning truck hunts, $100,000 hunts, stuff like that. They really get it done. And they have supported us in the store. Immensely. a lot. Like I said, we got probably could go on for freaking hours. We try to do this every time, and it always ends up the same thing. It's like I don't write all this shit down. I can't remember everybody's name right off the top. I remember your names, but it's like I go blank when I'm trying to say it. But thank each and every one of you. If I didn't say your name, thank you anyways. And my buddy down there in Florida, old Scott Lanier, bro, you real as it gets, buddy. Appreciate that.
Amen.
And till next time, we'll see y'all.
Thank you.